Have you ever stopped and wondered why things cost what they do? Why is a cup of coffee $3, but the phone in your pocket is 1,000? Or how does a concert ticket go from reasonable to, well, insane overnight? Prices are literally everywhere, but who's actually setting them? Let's dive in and figure it out.
So the answer to everything lies in a place we're all a part of, every single day, the market. And it's not just a physical place like this anymore, right? It's the app you use to order food. It's the website you buy shoes from. A market is really just any place where buyers and sellers get together to do business.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Who's in charge here? Is it the farmer who grew the food, the CEO of the tech company? The truth is, it's actually none of them. It's something way bigger and way more interesting.
Turns out, every price you see is the result of this invisible tug of war. It's this constant push and pull between two really powerful opposing forces that exist in every single market.
And here they are, the two big players in this game. On one side, you've got supply. That's all the people selling stuff. And on the other side, you've got demand. And that's us, the buyers. The price we all end up paying? It's that perfect sweet spot, that balancing point, where these two sides finally meet. Okay, so to really get how this all works, let's simplify things a little. We're going to hit pause on the sellers for a bit. Just ignore them for a moment and focus completely on our side of the equation. Let's zoom right into the mind of the buyer and figure out the rules of demand.
Now, this is really important. In economics, the word demand has a super specific meaning. It's not just about, wanting something. So let's follow this kid's journey. In step 1, he desires a bike, but he's broke. That's not economic demand. Then, in step 2, he gets some cash. Now his desire is a want. But it only becomes true demand in step 3 when he's both willing to spend the money and actually able to. Both have to be true.
And this idea leads us to the single most important rule when it comes to buyers, the law of demand. And honestly, it's just common sense. You already know this. When something gets more expensive, you're probably going to buy less of it, right? And when it goes on a massive sale, you're more likely to buy more. That's it. That's the law. Simple. Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. Meet Catherine. She loves ice cream. This little table here, which economists call a demand schedule, just shows her buying habits. When a cone is super cheap, only 50 cents, she's buying 10 a month. But look what happens. As that price climbs up to $2.50, she cuts way back to just 2. That's the law of demand right there in the numbers.
Now for the cool part. We can take all of that data from Catherine's table and turn it into a picture. And voila! This graph is what we call a demand curve. See how it slopes down from left to right? That simple downward line is an incredibly powerful tool because it gives you a visual of that relationship between price and how much people are going to buy.
All right, so we totally get how one person, Catherine, makes her decisions. But a real market isn't just one person, right? It's thousands, sometimes millions of people. So how in the world do we go from one person's ice cream craving to the demand for an entire city?
Well, you might think it's going to be some complicated formula, but it's actually surprisingly easy. To get the market demand, you literally just add up what every single person wants to buy at each price. So, if at $2, Catherine wants 4 cones, and her friend Nicholas wants 3 cones, then the market demand at that price is 7 cones. You just add it all up.
Okay, everyone, lean in for this one. I'm not kidding. This next idea is probably the most important concept in this entire explainer. There is a huge, huge difference between people buying less because the price went up and people buying less for some other reason entirely. One is just a simple reaction. The other is a complete game changer.
So let's look at scenario number 1. Let's say the price of potatoes goes up from $3 to $4. On the graph, notice what happens. We don't draw a new line. We just slide from one point on the curve down to another point. We are simply moving along the existing curve to show that, at a higher price, people will buy less. So let's nail this down. A movement along the curve is caused by only one thing, a change in that item's own price. That's it. But a shift of the curve? Whoa, that's a whole different beast. That happens when some outside force causes a fundamental change in our buying habits, making us want more or less of something at every single price. And here's what that shift actually looks like. Imagine a crazy heat wave hits the city. Suddenly, everybody wants more ice cream, no matter the price. The entire demand curve picks up and shifts to the right. That's an increase in demand. On the flip side, if a new study comes out saying ice cream is terrible for you, the whole curve might shift to the left, a decrease in demand.
Which, of course, leads us to the million-dollar question, right? If it's not the price of the ice cream itself changing, What on earth is powerful enough to change everybody's mind at once and shift the entire curve?
Well, it turns out there are a few usual suspects. Economists have boiled it down to 5 main causes. And luckily for us, there's a handy acronym to remember them: BITER. B is for the number of buyers. I is for income. T is for tastes and trends. E is for our expectations of the future. And R is for the price of related goods. Any one of these BITER factors can rock the market and shift that entire curve.
So there we go. We've got a really solid grip on the buyer's side of things now. We understand the law of demand, we know what a demand curve is, and we even know the secret BITER factors that can shift it. But this is only half the story. We've absolutely cracked the code on how we, the buyers, think and act in the market. But remember that seesaw from the beginning, that balancing act? To really truly understand why things cost what they do, we have to understand the other side of that story. We need to get inside the mind of the seller.
So, even with just half of the equation, you now have this powerful new lens to see the world. The next time you see a price spike for something, or a product is suddenly on sale everywhere, you can stop and analyze it. Ask yourself, was that just a price change, a simple movement along the curve? Or did one of those BITER factors cause a real shift in what everyone wants? Start looking for those shifts. You'll be amazed at what you start to see.